What if I told you that students using ChatGPT and AI is not a sign of a character flaw, but a sign of high intelligence? They've simply solved the puzzle that we gave them. And if the prize is the grade, then AI is the ultimate solution. Although some people might think that AI is ruining learning, I think it's just holding up a mirror to the way schools have been designed. AI isn't ruining learning, it's revealing what schools have rewarded all along. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. If students are using AI to skip the work, the real question isn't how do we stop AI? It's what goal have we trained our students to chase? That question sits at the center of everything that we're wrestling with right now. And if you think this is just a K 12 classroom issue, think again. Right now at UC San Diego, a recent report I'll add to the show notes highlighted that UCSD is facing a growing remedial math crisis. In just 5 years, the number of incoming students needing remedial math increased from 1 in 200 to nearly 1 in 8. That's not just a slow decline, it's a complete collapse. But one detail from that report stopped me cold. According to the university's findings, 25% of the students placed in remedial math could not solve this first grade problem. It's not a trick question, it's foundational reasoning. And this tells us something vital. This isn't about students suddenly forgetting math. It's about a system that's been quietly passing students forward without understanding. Faculty in the study pointed to grade inflation practices that rewarded transcripts over mastery, and I agree. Students did exactly what they were trained to do: earn the grade, move on, and trust that they were prepared. The crisis isn't individual, it's systemic. Welcome to Teach with Dr. D. I'm Patricia Dickinson, teacher educator and former classroom teacher. On this channel, we talk about what good teaching actually looks like in real classrooms, grounded in research, and shaped by experience. And before we blame students or teachers about what's happening right now, we need to understand something about our brains and what they're actually optimized to do. The human brain is designed to conserve energy. That's not laziness, it's biology. And if the goal is learning, AI can't do the thinking. But if the goal is points, grades, GPA, AI is the most efficient tool ever invented. We've fallen into this psychological trap called Goodhart's law. When a measure becomes a target, it stops being a good measure. Grades were supposed to measure learning. That's what we intended. But grades have become the target, and learning has disappeared. So I'm going to be honest with you for a second. I recently presented at a math conference, and I talked about using AI as a co-creation tool to design rubrics, to scaffold for diverse learners. One participant chose to walk out, later left a poor review. And that moment really struck me. It was like, wow, education has never been about protecting our comfort zones, right? We're not fragile people. It's about preparing our students for the world they are actually entering. If we refuse to examine new tools, we really are not preparing students for the future. We're preparing them for the past. AI is not about replacing thinking, and when used well, it will amplify our planning and free us to focus on what really matters: good teaching. Grades were supposed to measure learning, but grades have become the target, and learning has disappeared. So now that AI is in the picture, we're no longer guessing about whether they're using it. We know they are. Recent surveys consistently show that a large majority of students, I'm talking 80 to 92%, are using AI for academic purposes. And that number continues to grow. About half of students report using AI for weekly things like brainstorming, researching, studying, and writing first drafts. At the same time, many students are also saying that they're worried about over-relying on it or crossing into cheating. And what this tells us is important because AI use isn't just a compliance issue, it's a design issue. And the good news is that you don't have to overhaul your entire grading system or redesign every unit overnight. Today, I'm sharing 4 shifts that act as an on ramp to a learning focused classroom, especially in a world where AI exists. These shifts helped me make thinking visible without creating more work. Let's get started. Shift number 1, the proof of thought memo. This is one of the simplest and most powerful shifts that you can make right away. Instead of focusing only on the final product, add a short reflection, what I call the proof of thought. It can be added to any assignment. Students are just going to be answering questions like, how does this work show the learning goal? What part best demonstrates your understanding? Where did you struggle? And what did you try when you got stuck? Here's why this matters. Even if AI helped generate part of the product, the thinking can't be outsourced. Students still have to explain their learning in their own words. And here's how it works in the classroom. For example, an ELA teacher might ask students to highlight one paragraph and explains how it supports their claim. What evidence do they see? In math, choose one problem and explain the strategy, not just how you did it. Science, which data point best supports your conclusion and why? Again, the shift is moving students from turning something in to making sense of what they learned, and that matters. Okay, shift number 2 is what I call the roadmap to mastery. It's my favorite. Because here's the problem with most assessments. Students don't see learning. They see a score. And when all students see is a score, they focus on points. But when students see a path, they start focusing on progress. And this matters because of something called mastery goal orientation. It was actually the focus of my dissertation. So there's a ton of research here. Because when classrooms emphasize understanding and growth, students take risks and they're learning. But when classrooms emphasize grades and performance, we're going to get 2 outcomes. We're going to get that student who jumps through whatever hoops that are required, and they most likely have shallow learning. Or we're going to get the student who avoids learning altogether because it's way too risky, right? AI fits perfectly into that kind of system. So instead of giving students just a score, give them a roadmap. Show them what they need to understand, what they're close to, and what comes next. And when students can see that path, the questions are going to change. They're going to stop asking you, how many points is this worth? And they might ask, what do I need to work on next? In math, it might be having students start with problems that are using models and then explaining. That's the next step. In ELA, it might look like a claim, then evidence, then analysis and commentary. Students can actually locate themselves on that progression. In elementary, it can sound like I can identify, I can explain, I can apply. Same content, clear direction. But here's where real mastery comes alive. It's not just about naming a goal, it's about building a system to reach it. So instead of asking your students, what's your goal? Ask them, what's the next thing you're working toward? And what habit or strategy will help you get there? Where can I support you? Because goals without systems don't change. Read Atomic Habits. And when understanding is the target, AI stops being a shortcut. Okay, shift number 3 is what I call the 60-second growth check. It only takes 60 seconds because it's all about building in fast, intentional reflection. Not extra writing or not extra grading, just 60 seconds that focus students on learning instead of completion. And research on metacognition tells us that when students are asked more to reflect and notice what changed in their understanding, they can name their growth. And they're more likely to retain learning, transfer it, and believe that their effort actually matters. So after a quiz, a draft, or short learning activity, just ask this one simple question. What do you understand now that you didn't understand 20 minutes ago? It could be in a journal, it could be a turn and talk. And I've heard students say things like, I didn't get this at first, but now I understand why it works. Or I was confused, but now it's helping me make sense. These moments matter because metacognition, thinking about thinking, is tied to self-efficacy. When students can hear themselves and their peers talk about learning, they start to see growth as something that they create, not something that just happens to them. These short conversations retain students to notice progress over completion. And you're not adding in more work. You're teaching students how to recognize their own learning, and that changes everything. Shift number 4 is what I call the next win conversation. Have you ever seen your students do this? They take a test, you grade it, you hand it back, and as they walk out of the classroom, boop, they drop it in the trash. I saw this happen over and over again. It got me so upset, but it also told me something really important, that once a grade is given, the learning conversation is over. So here's what I started doing differently. Before the students could put the assessment away, I built in a short conversation. Sometimes it was a check-in with me, a turn and talk, or a quick write in their journal. But the question was, what's going to be your next win? And here's why they stopped throwing their test away. That question reframed the assessment from an ending to a starting point. Suddenly, students had a reason to keep that paper, look at their feedback, and think about what came next. And instead of seeing the test as a judgment, they started to see it as information. I heard my students say things like, my next win is going to be explaining my thinking better, or choosing stronger evidence, or maybe even, I didn't do as well as I wanted, but I know what I need to work on. And that's the shift. The grade no longer ended the learning, it launched the next step. And you're not adding more assessment, you're changing the moment when learning usually stops to where it continues. So here's the thing, you don't have to navigate this shift alone. I've linked a reflection page in the description. It's going to help you get started immediately. And if you're looking for a community, think about joining our membership. You get to chat with me, and you'll get additional resources that you can bring into your classroom tomorrow. And remember that AI didn't break education. It just revealed where it was already cracked. If we eliminate the tool without changing the target, we're just fighting biology. Shortcuts only exist when the goal is the grade. When the goal is growth, there are no shortcuts. So let's stop rewarding the finishing line and start rewarding the journey. I'm Dr. D, and I'll see you in the next video.